I just had my first 100-point haul in FPL in the last game week, so we're going to take a look at what we got, what our plans are going forward due to a massive injury in this team, and upcoming fixtures as well throughout the festive period where obviously loads of players are going to be rotated. There's so many games coming up in such a short space of time. But we got 102 points last week, which is kind of crazy. We made one transfer, which was needed, because for the last couple of weeks when we've been doing FPL, I haven't had a goalkeeper, because I had Kelleher whilst Alisson was out, and I've had Areola since the beginning of the season. I switched Henderson out for Kelleher. Of course, that's when Henderson started getting some points, so that was perfect. But this week, I brought in Robert Sanchez, who managed to get 9 points, got a clean sheet against Everton, and made a good amount of saves, including one really, really big, important one, which kept it at 0-0. So a great transfer right there, which did get us over that 100 mark. Rico Lewis came on as a sub because a couple of weeks ago I brought in Igor. I initially brought in Lewis Dunk because Brighton had a great run of fixtures. If we quickly look at their information here, they had, starting potentially with Bournemouth, but Southampton, Fulham, us, Palace, West Ham, and Brentford is a really nice run for a team that have picked up some crazy results so far this season, but they're just winless now in like 6 games, or in 5, sorry. So it's not really worked out. I initially brought in Lewis Dunk. I then switched him to Igor because Dunk didn't start the first of those games. And then he hasn't been playing in the last 3. He got 1 minute against us. So that's not worked out. He needs to go as well. But Rico Lewis came on as an automatic sub for him. But of course, Man City were terrible. 0 points. Ola Aina, though, with 15. He scored a goal, got a clean sheet, and got the 3 bonus. In a lot of teams, you're going to have Forest players on the bench. So the fact that he was starting for me is really, really nice. Although he was always going to be starting over Wout. So I think it was very unlikely that he wasn't going to get me on the pitch. We had Robinson, who of course got a clean sheet. Mitoma, again, I brought him in at the same time that I brought in Dunk. It's not really worked out. Look at this. So he got 10 points against Southampton. And then 2-2-2-2 in those ones. Did I even have him in for the Southampton game? Is the question. I did. So that's when I brought him in, when I did 3 transfers for 8 points. And there you can see, Dunk played 18 minutes in that one. He didn't start. But Mitoma did get 10 points. So that one was okay. But since then, he has been disappointing. So I'm wondering whether it is potentially time to get him out as well. Cole Palmer, Chelsea, again, just didn't really do anything. This is the big one, which we'll talk about in a minute. Saka went off injured 23 minutes in. Arsenal score 5. He is not a part of any of those goals. Ahmad with 2 points. Mo Salah with a ridiculous performance. 2 goals, 2 assists, and a 3 bonus, of course, in Liverpool's smashing of Tottenham, scoring 6 goals away from home. Their next fixture at home to Leicester on Boxing Day. So I'll show you what I may potentially be doing. Matheus Cunha gets a 3-point bonus as he scores against us in a fixture where a lot of people, including myself, were expecting him to be serving the ban for his assault kind of thing on the Ipswich staff member. That still hasn't happened yet. So do we keep him in for the next week, or is the assumption that by this Man United game he will actually have got his ban? I don't know. And then Alexander Isak, after I brought him in last week for his 11-point haul against us, I captained him this week, and it went really well. He got a hat-trick against Ipswich. There was no world where I thought that anyone else in my team was going to be getting more than 17 points, so I can't feel bad about not captaining Salah. On the bench, we had Chris Wood, Areola, again, who needs to leave this team, Igor, and Fars, who could also do with leaving. So I have already used my wild card, otherwise I would probably use it just to make use of it before the second one comes in. Realistically, right now, Rico Lewis, Man City are just not good, so I wouldn't mind getting rid of him. Igor isn't playing, so he needs to go. Areola isn't playing, he needs to go. As it stands, well, Fast is also not playing, he would need to go. So not a great situation, but the bigger deal is this Saka injury. So it says unknown return date, but we know he is out somewhere between 1 and 2 months, which, when it's the festive period and you've got so many games coming up, that means he's missing a minimum of, let's say he's out for a month. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, right? If he's out for 2 months, then he's missing 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10 matches, which is massive. So he's got to go. So if we look at the team for the next week, he isn't really massively replaceable by someone on the bench, and so this transfer needs to happen, especially, hopefully, before his value completely and utterly plummets. So, what on earth am I going to do? I have 0.4 in my budget. It is actually tempting to try and bring Haaland back in. Even though he's on a shocking run of form, as are Man City, their next 3 fixtures are fantastic. Well, next 5, really. Everton at home, Leicester away, West Ham at home, Brentford away, Ipswich away. If they do not turn their season round in that run of games, they're finishing bottom half. So the dream scenario would be to have Isak in there as well as Haaland. You also have Nicholas Jackson, who is on a little bit of a dry spell compared to what he's been doing throughout the season, but they also have a really nice run of fixtures here. So the temptation would be, if Cunha's going to get banned, that maybe we move up a level here to someone like Nicholas Jackson. You've also got Solanke, you've got Watkins, that have got some decent fixtures in there. And then we've got a budget of 9.4 for my midfield. This will cost me 4 points if I was to make 2 transfers. I could just do directly Saka to basically anybody. I already have Salah, I already have Palmer. So if I'm upgrading to Jackson, I can't afford Son. Whereas if I leave that as Cunha, Son could come in, or anybody else. Bruno Fernandes is potentially an option. You've got Luis Diaz, who's back on it. Maddison is in really, really good form. And if we do just show the form players right now, then Sharda is still in there, mainly because he got that hat-trick there, didn't he? 23 points in that game was absolutely ridiculous. Cliver is just scoring penalties. Szoboszlai had a very, very good game. And then you're not seeing crazy big names here. Son is down here. He's doing okay. Didn't get any goal involvements against Liverpool, even though they scored 3 goals, which is really disappointing for a premium player like Son. Forest away, Wolves at home, Newcastle at home, Arsenal away. It's not a great run of fixtures for them. So I need to make this decision, and I need to make it quick because the deadline is obviously on Boxing Day morning. So we don't have too much turnaround before the next game. You could even go big and risk, if you're not getting Haaland in, maybe Kevin De Bruyne is going to be starting the next game. With those fixtures, that could potentially be an option. However, for me, I would be 0.1 away. So would I then switch out a defender like a Rico Lewis to someone that is actually playing? Even if I wanted to switch from one Brighton defender to another, maybe I could do something like that. I don't really know. We'll look at this, but De Bruyne is definitely an option there, even with the Jackson upgrade. If I just switch something else, maybe I even do that Mitoma transfer, because it's not really working out for him right now. I could do the switch to Enzo, which most people have been doing recently because he's ridiculously cheap and he's getting a lot of points. You also have Morgan Rogers, still really, really cheap. He's back in the goal involvement. Started the season slow, then he had a decent run of form, and now he's back in there. Do we think he'll continue it? I don't know. Szoboszlai had a really good game against Tottenham after a season where he only previously had 3 goal involvements. Can he keep up that form? I mean, they've got us and then West Ham, so maybe. So if I did do this, it would be an 8-point cost for me to do these transfers. However, it could be worth it in terms of the points that I may gain, because these players are going to go on a run for the next few weeks. We would actually have too many Chelsea players, so I couldn't go to Enzo there. So those are the kind of things that we need to look at. And the other thing is whether we triple captain Mo Salah. Because our defence is an absolute shambles. We conceded 4 away at Newcastle. We conceded 3 at home to Wolves in our most recent game. And so Liverpool, scoring 6 away at Spurs, now have a home game against one of the worst defences in the league. It is very, very tempting to use the triple captainship here. The only thing that is stopping me is the fact that he will have a double game week, probably in February, where it's going to be Wolves and Everton. He could easily play 60 minutes in both of those games and get more points than he's going to get in this match. However, I feel like a lot of people are potentially going to save it for that if they didn't use it on Haaland against Ipswich very early in the season. So it might be a little bit of an outsider shout for a triple captain. And so if it pays off, it might be a massive one. So those are the things in my head right now. Salah, do we triple captain him? What am I going to do about this Saka situation? Cunha, if he had better fixtures, maybe I'd risk him not getting the ban and keep him in, but their fixtures are bad, and even though they beat us 3-0, they weren't actually incredible in that game, so coming up against better opposition, they probably won't be getting those goals. Nicholas Jackson, of course, is having a great season right now, and his fixtures are really, really good, so I think that's a transfer I want to make. I cannot get Haaland back in for these good fixtures, so maybe I would risk a -8 for De Bruyne, Jackson, and then move Mitoma down to somebody else. That's what we're looking at. Let's quickly look at the league. I am in 82nd place. I'm not even sure out of how many. I don't know how many people are in this league at this point in time. I don't know if there's actually a really quick way to check. Maybe we can just keep pressing this. How many have we got? 202. And we are 82nd. So, not that bad. I'll take it. And who is top of the league is the next question. Because it is not me. We have got Nishel, who is top of the league by 12 points. Some massive scores up here. Although, did anyone beat mine? Sam? Oh, this guy did. He got 108 points this week. How did he do it? He also had Morgan Rogers in there and Captain Salah instead of Isak. So, fair play to him. But yeah, Nishal is top of the league by 12 points. How far ahead are they of me? 969, nearly 200 points. So, some of you guys are very, very good. Axel, with Vardy having a party as his team name, is second place. I have to root for him to win the whole thing as it stands. So, keep it going. But that is where we stand for FPL. A really, really good week. The best one I've had this season. The previous best, I think, was 96 points. So a really, really good one with a fantastic transfer of Sanchez in. Do I make that risk for the -8? I guess you'll find out in the next few days.